How you doing, guys? This week's topic is on quadratic inequalities and how we can use GeoGebra to do some reasoning based off of a visual representation of an algebraic problem like when is this quadratic? What values of x make the outputs of this number pattern of this quadratic pattern greater than or equal to 0? Okay, so to do this, all we have to really do is in GeoGebra, we're just going to input this quadratic pattern here. So x squared plus 7x plus 6. So we have x squared plus 7x plus 6 and hit enter. And we got the quadratic, the parabola graphed here. So the question is, what input values, what x values in this number pattern guarantee us to have outputs greater than or equal to 0. So, one way to show it too is I always like to have a moving point on a curve because it's just related to input and output. So, if we were to look at this input, say negative 6.44, we get an output of 2.39, greater than 0, right? Or if we go down here, we can see that an input of negative 5.52 actually gives us an output that's less than 0. So helping kids understand that when we talk about outputs that are greater than 0, we're talking about all the positive, the positive side above the x-axis. Since this y-axis is our output axis, we want to know what inputs give us outputs that are greater than 0. One way we could do that too is if in our input bar, if we just type y equals, or not equals, let's go y is greater than, so I'm going to use the right or the greater than symbol, and I'm going to put an equal sign after it. So that's our y is greater than or equal to 0, which is actually going to put a nice inequality on our screen up here. So we can shade the region when y is greater than 0, meaning our positive outputs, and we can see the parts of our graph then that guarantee us positive outputs. And it starts, if we look at this half over here, x is negative 1, and it looks like anything greater than negative 1. And then when x is negative 6, and anything less than negative 6 is going to be our solution. So just looking at the graph, looking at the visual features of GeoGebra, we could see x has to be greater than or equal to, since we can equal 0, negative 1. And then also from over here, we can see that x, sorry about that, come on, okay, x is less than or equal to negative 6. So based off of this one problem here, we can see our solution. So we know that we got the answer when x is less than or equal to negative 6, or when x is greater than or equal to negative 1. So our answer is going to be D on this one. But the nice thing about this is you could leave your y is greater than or equal to 0, which will just leave the shaded region above the x-axis. And then you can change your quadratic around. Either delete it and put a new one up there, or you can, double click it or right click, the equation in your algebra window to get your object properties. The way that my screen recorder is working, I think I have to right click and go to object properties. But then you get a new one. Let's say that you get x squared, let's say minus 3x minus, what would that up? 2. I think that'll factor nicely at least. So now that I changed my equation around, then we look at the graph and we can see again, alright, well again to be above, it's going to be, x values that are less than this intercept here and x values greater than that intercept. Or if you wanted to switch it to less than, okay, you can do that too using this, using GeoGebra. So again, just wanted to show you that we can put inequalities in GeoGebra, and also on that topic, you can also put quadratic inequalities like y is greater than, let's just say y is greater than x squared minus 7x plus 6. And when you do that, notice we get the inequality that's shaded with, the interior of our parabola. And it creates that dotted line for us already because we had that just less than, or excuse me, we had greater than with no equal to. So GeoGebra will also go ahead and take care of our graphing features for us as well. Okay, so have some fun with inequalities on GeoGebra and see what kind of lessons you can come up with using those nice visual features.